So we have a stack of documents on the table today, and honestly, they feel like a map where none of the roads connect. We've got Oakland PD reports, archives from the San Francisco Chronicle, transcripts, even a really deep Reddit file.
And usually when we do these deep dives, all the sources kind of point in the same general direction.
Right. You might have some conflicting details, but the arrow's usually pointing one way.
But this case is,
Yeah.
it's just different. We're looking at the file of Kristin Modafferi, and depending on which page you pick up, you get a completely different story.
A completely different reality.
Yeah. In one version, this is just a tragic accident. In another, it's a predator using the very early internet to find victims. And in a third, much more recent theory, the answer was literally buried under the house she was living in.
And we are going to unpack all three. But we have to start with this idea of this summer of adventure. Because reading these early files, it just feels like the start of a movie.
It really does. It's June of 1997. Kristin is 18 years old. She's a Park Scholar at NC State, which is, that's not just being a good student. That's a full-ride, top-tier academic scholarship.
She was brilliant. An industrial design major, had skipped a grade, just fiercely independent.
But also new,
Glued to the world. She decides to spend her summer in San Francisco. And look at this timeline. She turns 18 on June 1st, 1997.
The exact day she arrives in the Bay Area.
It's almost too perfect. Like, happy birthday, you're an adult, here's the Golden Gate Bridge.
And she just hit the ground running. She'd saved up over $900 for a photography class at UC Berkeley. She had a job at SF MoMA, another one at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
She was building this whole life for herself.
But, she was also doing it on a budget. She found a room on Jane Avenue in Oakland. And this detail in the police report, it jumped out at me immediately.
That she found it online.
Yeah, in 1997.
Yeah.
Today, we don't even think about it. But back then...
That was the Wild West. The internet was barely a thing in most homes. There was zero vetting. She moved into a house with 4 male roommates she didn't know at all.
Her mother, Debbie, was really uneasy about it. The reports say she just had this feeling. 4 guys, an 18-year-old girl. The alarm bells were going off.
But Kristin had that, that teenage invincibility. She basically told her mom, "You're not going to stop me."
And that's the tension, right? Legally an adult, but experientially still.
Yeah.
So new.
And that naivety, it becomes a crucial factor on Monday, June 23rd. This is the day everything just fractures.
Let's reconstruct it, because the timeline is incredibly tight. She leaves Oakland, takes Bart into the city, clocks in at Spinelli's coffee shop in the Crocker Galleria at 7 a.m., a totally normal shift. But then we get the first, weird little clue.
The directions. Several coworkers remember her asking how to get to Land's End Beach.
Which is this beautiful, rugged spot on the edge of the city. But here's what doesn't add up for me. Just 2 days earlier, that Saturday, she was at a summer solstice party at Ocean Beach.
Which is right next door to Land's End.
Exactly. She had just been there, so why ask for directions? Was she meeting someone who told her a specific spot? Or was she just not sure if it was the same place?
It's odd.
It is. And we don't know the answer. But we do know she clocked out at 3:00 p.m. We have a clear description: black Spinelli shirt, tan pants, a blue flannel tied around her waist, and a green JanSport backpack.
With her library books inside, she's in full-on student mode.
But she doesn't leave the mall. She hangs around for about 45 minutes. And this is the last time anyone who knew her saw her alive.
At 3:45 p.m., a coworker sees her on the second floor of the Galleria. But she isn't alone. The report says she's with an unidentified blonde woman.
And the witness was really clear on this. They weren't just standing near each other. They were together, walking, talking. It looked like a planned meeting.
And then she's gone, vanished. She never picked up her paycheck, $400, which is a fortune for a student.
Right.
She never showed up for that expensive photography class. She just evaporates into the financial district, and this is where the system completely fails her.
Because of her birthday. She'd been 18 for exactly 3 weeks.
So the Oakland PD classified her as a missing adult. You have to remember, in 97, Detective Patrick Mulhaney said they had 800 open missing persons cases. 90% were considered runaways.
So they just assumed she was ducking away, crashing on a friend's couch somewhere.
Right. And her roommates didn't call for 3 days because they didn't know her. They just thought she was out living her life. That delay, it cost them everything. The trail went ice cold.
They did eventually bring in bloodhounds, but it was days later in downtown San Francisco.
The dogs did find something, though, and this is the foundation for Theory A, the accidental death.
The scent trail.
Exactly. The dogs tracked her scent from the Galleria to the bus stop for the 38 Geary.
Okay, and the 38 Geary line goes straight from downtown all the way out to the ocean.
All the way. The dogs then picked up the scent again at the end of the line at Sutra Heights Park, which is right there above Land's End.
So the police narrative becomes pretty simple. She asked how to get to the beach. She took a bus to the beach. She was walking on the cliffs.
And a sneaker wave, one of those huge sudden swells, swept her out to sea. It's a tidy theory. It explains why there's no body. The currents there are brutal.
But I don't know. The dog evidence, it feels thin. A dog tracked a scent through a city bus system. I mean,
It's not DNA for sure. It suggests she went there, but it doesn't tell us if she was alone. And it definitely doesn't explain the blonde woman.
or what they found in the trash can.
Right. If you set aside the accident theory, you have to look at the predator theory. And the central clue for that was sitting in her bedroom on Jane Avenue.
While police were thinking she was a runaway, her parents were just tearing her room apart. And in a trash can, they find a copy of the San Francisco Bay Guardian.
The alternative weekly paper, arts, music, that sort of thing, and personal ads.
And there was one ad circled in ink. I want to read this because the wording is, it's just so specific. It says, friends, females seeking friends to share activities, photography, working out, exploring the Bay Area, interested, call me.
It seems so benign, right? Females seeking friends, and it matches her interests perfectly. Photography, exploring, but then you think about the mall.
The blonde woman.
Exactly. The theory is that Kristin circled this ad, called the number, and arranged to meet this female friend at the Galleria.
But when the investigators tried to trace the ad, they hit a brick wall.
The Bay Guardian had already purged their records for that week. No billing info, no phone number, nothing. It's maddening.
It raises so many questions. Was the ad even placed by a woman? Or was it a lure?
Or was the blonde woman an accomplice? We just don't know. But that personal ad brings us to John Onuma.
And this is where the story just takes a nosedive into true crime horror. On July 10th, KGO-TV gets a phone call.
A tip. A man calls and says, in detail, that Kristin was murdered by two jealous lesbians and that her body was dumped near a bridge in Point Reyes.
So police trace the call. It comes from John Onuma. He lives near the Galleria. They bring him in, and his story is it's pathetic. He says it was a prank.
A prank. He claimed he made it all up to get his girlfriend's coworkers in trouble because he didn't like them.
But the more police dug into Onuma, the more that prank story fell apart.
The file on this guy it's dark. A history of placing personal ads to lure women. Other women came forward accusing him of abuse, of torture.
And there's one statement from woman that it just sticks with you. She claimed Onuma threatened her and said,
I know the quote. He allegedly told her, now you know what happened to Kristin Modafferi.
That sounds like a confession.
It sounds like a power play. So police get a warrant, they search his apartment, and they find traces of blood. This could be the break.
And here's the twist. They test the blood.
And it comes back as cat blood.
Cat blood.
He owned a cat, apparently, and that's the whole problem with the Onuma theory. You have all the smoke, the call, the ads, the creepy threat, but no forensic fire. Nothing physically linking him to Kristin.
What about his girlfriend, Jill Lampo? Could she have been the blonde woman?
Some investigators thought so. Maybe she was the safe face to lure Kristin in. But again, no proof. He eventually moved to Hawaii, and that whole lead just went ice cold for nearly 2 decades.
So the case is just stuck. Did she fall into the ocean? Did she meet a predator from a personal ad? But then, in 2015, this third story emerges.
And this one is based on some, let's call it cutting-edge science.
This is thanks to Dennis Mahone, a family friend who just refused to let the case die. He was convinced the answer was back at the house on Jane Avenue. He kept thinking, what if she never even made it to the beach?
So they brought in a dog named Buster, a world-class cadaver dog. And Buster alerted in the basement of the house.
Alerted to what specifically?
To the scent of human decomposition, right near a concrete slab and also near the porch of the house next door.
Okay, but a dog alert isn't enough to start digging up a foundation.
Right. So they brought in a forensic anthropologist, Dr. Arpad Vass. He uses this device, it's like a chemical sniffer, that he claims can detect the specific chemical signatures that human remains release into the soil over decades.
And he ran his tests in the basement.
He did, and according to the private investigators, he got a positive hit. Not just for human decomposition, but for chemical markers that were a potential match for Kristin's parents' DNA.
Wait, hold on. If they have a chemical signature of her family's blood in the basement where she lived, why didn't the Oakland PD just jackhammer that entire floor?
Because the science is considered experimental. It's not widely accepted in court.
Yeah.
The Oakland PD said it wasn't actionable evidence. They argued the scent could be a broken sewer pipe or even an old Native American burial ground.
That feels like a massive dodge. It might be an ancient burial ground, so we won't look.
It's a huge conflict. The police need probable cause that will stand up in front of a judge, and they didn't feel this met the bar, so that slab just sits there unopened.
That is just so frustrating. It leaves you with these three totally separate, completely plausible, and unproven scenarios.
It does. But out of all that uncertainty, something concrete did happen. The Modafferi family, they didn't just accept that adult loophole that failed Kristin. They went to Washington.
They lobbied for Kristin's law.
And they won. President Clinton signed it in 2000. It created the National Center for Missing Adults. And it forces law enforcement to stop just dismissing missing 18 or 19-year-olds as runaways.
So because of Kristin, the next time an 18-year-old vanishes, the police can't just say, call us back in 3 days.
Exactly. That is her legacy.
But the mystery of what happened to her is just as cold as ever. Detective Monet still thinks it was Onuma or the ocean. But you have these other investigators saying the answer might be under a few inches of concrete in Oakland.
Because someone knows who that blonde woman was. She didn't just disappear, and someone placed that ad. And someone lived in that house on Jane Avenue.
It all comes back to that image for me. That circled ad in the trash can. It's so innocent. Females seeking friends. You're just a kid in a new city trying to find someone to take pictures with.
And that search for connection, that openness, is what makes it so haunting. In her mind, she wasn't doing anything risky. She was just starting her life. And that very act may have led her into the hands of a predator or to the edge of a cliff she never saw coming.
If you're listening and you were in the Bay Area in 1997, or if you know anything at all, please contact the Oakland Police Department. It's been a long time, but as that basement search showed, the traces don't always disappear.
They're still there, waiting.
We're going to leave it there for today. This is a heavy one, but an important one. Thanks for diving in with us.
Stay safe.